All right, buckle up because today we're going to explore the fringes of science and
Mhm.
consciousness.
Uh,
We're going deep into something called the gateway experience.
right.
And our guide for this journey is a declassified CIA document from 1983.
Oh, wow.
It's a wild ride. Have you
Uh,
ever heard of this gateway experience?
I have.
Yeah. What's your first?
It's pretty out there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really, really fascinating document.
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm picturing shady government experiments and people with tinfoil hats. Is that,
Look,
am I close?
you're not far off.
Okay.
The document itself doesn't really delve into the motivations for why the CIA was looking into this stuff.
Right.
But what we do know is that it was written by a U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel,
Okay.
Wayne M. McDonnell,
Okay.
and it was written for the commander of the U.S. Army Operational Group.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems that the Army was definitely interested in exploring the possibilities of altered states of consciousness.
So maybe they were hoping to train super soldiers who could read minds
Possibly.
or see the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. But the document focuses more on the how, not the why.
Okay.
It explores techniques like hemisync, biofeedback,
Okay.
and even transcendental meditation as potential pathways to achieving these altered states.
Hemisync, that sounds like something out of Star Trek.
Right. It kind of does.
Yeah.
So it's not about controlling minds, but rather about guiding them into different states of awareness?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And the document suggests that by achieving these states, we can potentially tap into a universal energy field
Whoa.
and maybe even click out of time and space.
Okay, hold on. Clicking out of time and space.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into some serious sci-fi territory.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right, so before we jump into the deep end of those concepts,
Right.
let's unpack the basics of the gateway process.
Okay.
What's the core idea here? The foundation is synchronizing the brain's hemispheres,
Okay.
which a lot of people believe is key to unlocking altered states of consciousness.
We've all heard of left brain versus right brain thinking, but how do you actually synchronize them?
It's about creating a state of harmony between the analytical, logical left side and the intuitive, creative right side.
Okay.
And the document claims this synchronization can be achieved through these techniques like hemisync
Okay.
and biofeedback.
Biofeedback, that's something I'm actually familiar with.
Oh,
Isn't that used for stress management?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's often used in therapeutic settings.
Right.
You basically use sensors to monitor your physiological responses like heart rate,
Right.
muscle tension,
Uh-huh.
even brain waves.
Mm-hmm.
And by learning to control these responses,
Okay.
you can then influence your mental state
Okay.
and potentially access these altered states.
So it's like hacking into your own nervous system to unlock hidden potential.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, yeah. So now we're talking.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
McDonnell attempts to back up these claims with some pretty hard science,
Okay.
drawing from physics,
Okay.
quantum mechanics.
Okay, now you're talking my language.
Okay.
I love when things get a little nerdy.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the science behind this.
Okay.
What kind of theories are we talking about here?
Well, he relies heavily on the concept of the holographic universe.
Okay. The holographic universe.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I heard of it.
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
What if reality, as we experience it,
Uh-huh.
is more like a projection,
Yep.
a hologram, than something solid and fixed?
I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
It's a big one.
So are you saying that what we perceive as real is just an illusion?
Not necessarily an illusion, but perhaps a limited perspective on a much grander reality.
Okay.
The holographic universe theory suggests that our brains are interacting
Okay.
with a universal energy field that contains all information.
Okay, so it's kind of like...
It's kind of like a cosmic internet
Oh, wow.
or a vast library of experiences.
Okay, so how does the gateway experience fit into that?
McDonnell argues that by achieving certain brainwave frequencies,
Okay.
we can tap into this universal energy field
Mm-hmm.
and potentially access information and experiences that are beyond our normal perception.
So instead of searching Google, we're searching the cosmos.
Exactly.
Oh,
And he uses scientific theories to back this up.
okay.
He references physicists like Niels Bohr
Okay.
and David Bohm, who explored the connections between consciousness and quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
He even brings up the work of Carl Pribram,
Carl Pribram. Okay.
a neuropsychologist who suggested that the brain itself functions holographically.
Okay, so there's actual scientific backing to some of these ideas.
Well, backing might be a strong word.
Okay.
McDonald draws upon these theories, but it's important to remember that mainstream science hasn't necessarily proven any of this conclusively.
Right. It's still very much on the fringes.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so intriguing, right?
Absolutely.
It's pushing the boundaries of what we think we know about reality and the potential of the human mind.
Exactly. It's a fascinating exploration of the unknown.
I like it.
Now, the document also delves into this concept of the homunculus figure.
Homunculus.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit creepy.
It does a little bit.
Okay.
Is this like a tiny person living inside our brains?
I was going to say.
Uh-huh.
No.
Okay. Not quite.
Okay.
It's a visual representation of how different parts of the body are mapped in the brain's sensory and motor areas.
So like how some parts of the body are more sensitive than others.
Exactly.
Okay.
The homunculus shows how these sensitivities are reflected in the brain.
Okay.
Now, McDonald suggests that by achieving altered states of consciousness through the gateway experience,
Okay.
we might be able to change how our brains process this sensory input.
So potentially changing not just what we perceive, but also how we experience our own bodies and the world around us.
Exactly.
I like it.
And that brings us to the really mind-blowing part.
Okay.
The idea of clicking out of time and space.
Okay. I'm ready for my mind to be blown.
Okay.
What exactly does it mean to click out of time and space?
Well, McDonald proposes that specific brainwave frequencies,
Okay.
which can be accessed through the techniques we've been discussing, allow us to perceive dimensions beyond our normal reality.
Okay.
He even links this to the absolute,
Okay.
which he describes as a state of pure energy and consciousness.
So the absolute is like the ultimate destination in this journey of altered consciousness.
You could think of it that way.
Okay.
It's described as the source of all creation, existing outside of time and space as we understand them.
So by clicking out, could we potentially travel to different points in time?
That's where things get really speculative.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about physical time travel,
Okay.
at least not in the traditional sense.
Then what is it about?
It's more about accessing information from different points, along what McDonald calls the cosmic egg.
Cosmic egg.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've really lost me.
Right.
What in the world is a cosmic egg?
Get ready for this one.
Okay.
Picture a torus,
Taurus?
a donut shape.
Okay.
That's the cosmic egg.
Okay.
McDonald proposes that this donut-shaped hologram represents the entire universe.
Wait, the universe is shaped like a donut.
It's a wild thought.
My brain is officially fried.
Hang in there.
Okay.
It all starts to make sense when you understand how this cosmic egg model connects to the gateway experience
Okay.
and this idea of clicking out of time-space.
Okay.
We'll dive into that when we get back after the break.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back, and I'm still trying to digest this whole cosmic egg concept.
That's a big one.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So before the break, you were about to explain how this donut-shaped universe with a black hole and a white hole ties into the gateway experience.
So picture yourself as a point of consciousness moving through this torus,
Okay.
this cosmic egg. McDonald suggests that our perception of time and space is limited because we're stuck within this structure.
So it's like we're looking at the universe through a tiny peephole.
Yeah.
But the gateway experience gives us a wider view.
That's a good analogy.
Okay.
Remember those black and white holes?
Yeah.
They're not just sitting there.
Okay.
McDonald proposes they're actually driving a cycle of creation and destruction, constantly influencing the flow of energy and information throughout the cosmic egg.
So instead of a straight line from past to future, it's more like a constant swirling cycle.
Exactly.
Oh.
And according to McDonald, by achieving higher states of consciousness through the gateway experience, we can start to perceive this cosmic egg,
Okay.
this cyclical model of time and space, from a completely different perspective.
Okay, but how does that actually work? Does clicking out mean we can jump between different points in time?
It's not about physical time travel in the sense of hopping into a time machine.
Right.
It's more about expanding our awareness to perceive information from various points within this holographic universe,
Oh, okay.
all of which exists simultaneously.
So are you saying the past, present, and future are all happening at the same time?
That's the implication.
Wow.
It's like McDonald suggests we can access a universal archive
Okay.
of information and experiences, not just our little slice of reality in the present moment.
I see what you mean. It's not about traveling through time linearly, but expanding our perception to encompass a wider range of possibilities that already exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about tapping into a level of reality that transcends our ordinary understanding of time and space.
I can definitely see how that would be appealing, especially if you're trying to solve complex problems or make decisions about the future.
Right, the potential applications are vast.
Yeah.
But the document also emphasizes the potential risks
Okay.
and ethical concerns that come with exploring these altered states.
You know, it's funny, whenever you hear about things like psychic abilities or time travel, there's always this element of danger.
Right.
Or a warning to proceed with caution.
Yeah.
What kind of risks are we talking about here?
Well, McDonald cautions that the gateway experience can be disorienting and even psychologically challenging for people who aren't prepared. He stresses the importance of proper training and guidance.
So it's not something to just dabble in lightly.
Exactly.
Right.
He also suggests that accessing certain information or experiences could have unintended consequences.
Like what?
Imagine knowing the outcome of a future event.
Okay.
How might that knowledge influence your actions in the present?
Right.
Could you inadvertently change the course of events in a way that you didn't anticipate?
That's a good point. It's like those time travel movies where someone goes back in time and accidentally creates a paradox.
It's not quite as dramatic as Hollywood makes it seem.
Right.
But the underlying principle is similar. McDonald is essentially advocating for a responsible and ethical approach to exploring these altered states.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the theory, the potential benefits, and even the risks.
Right.
Now I'm really curious about the practical side of things.
Okay.
How do you actually achieve these altered states? What are some of the techniques outlined in the document?
Well, the gateway experience, as McDonald describes it, is a multifaceted process that draws from various disciplines.
Okay.
He talks about techniques like color breathing,
Remote
viewing,
All right.
and patterning,
Okay.
all aimed at enhancing focus, creativity, problem-solving abilities, and of course, manipulating consciousness and energy.
Okay, let's break those down one by one. What's color breathing all about?
Imagine visualizing and absorbing different colored energies,
Okay.
each associated with specific qualities.
Okay.
For example, blue might represent peace and tranquility,
Uh-huh.
while red might symbolize energy and vitality.
So it's kind of like using visualization to shift your mood or energy state.
Yes, and McDonald suggests it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
He proposes that these colors represent actual energetic frequencies that can influence your physical and mental well-being.
Interesting. And what about remote viewing? Is that what it sounds like?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
It involves developing the ability to perceive information about distant locations or events, kind of like psychic perception.
Okay, now that one definitely sounds a bit out there.
Yeah.
Is there any scientific evidence to support the idea of remote viewing?
There have been some studies, but the results are often debated.
Yeah.
The document suggests that by quieting the analytical left brain and activating the intuitive right brain, you can enhance your perceptual abilities and potentially access information beyond your physical senses.
So it's about tapping into that intuitive side that we often ignore in our everyday lives.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we have patterning,
Patterning.
which is perhaps the most mind-bending technique of all.
Okay.
It involves consciously creating a holographic template for the desired outcome,
Okay.
based on the idea that thoughts can influence reality.
So you're basically visualizing a goal or outcome as if it's already happening, and that somehow helps to manifest it.
That's the core concept.
Okay.
It's based on the idea that consciousness is a creative force within this holographic universe. By holding a clear image of a desired outcome, you're essentially imprinting that pattern onto the energy field,
Okay.
increasing its likelihood of manifesting.
I see. So it's kind of like a combination of visualization, intention setting, and maybe even a little bit of magic.
There's definitely an element of that.
Yeah.
And McDonald doesn't shy away from exploring those connections between science and what some might call mysticism.
Right.
He also talks about an energy bar tool.
Energy bar tool. Okay.
Right.
What is that exactly?
It's another visualization technique where you imagine an energy bar that can be used to direct energy toward specific areas of the body or even to other people.
So it's like a mental tool for energy healing.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's based on the idea that we can consciously manipulate energy fields to promote healing and balance.
Okay.
He also mentions the living body map, which is a way of visualizing the energy systems within your body
Right.
and using focused intention to influence them.
So it's like an energetic anatomy lesson combined with intention setting.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
These techniques all share a common thread, using consciousness as a tool to interact with and influence the energy fields that make up reality.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this fascinating blend of science consciousness exploration and what some might even consider spirituality.
Right.
But I'm wondering, is there any real-world application for this stuff?
Well, McDonald emphasizes the potential benefits for personal growth, problem-solving, creativity, even healing.
Mm-hmm.
But he also acknowledges that a lot of this is still uncharted territory.
Right. It's not like there are double-blind studies proving the effectiveness of clicking out of time-space.
Exactly.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's not worth exploring.
Right.
The document invites us to question our assumptions about reality.
Okay.
And to consider the possibility that we have far more potential than we realize.
All right, so we've delved deep into the gateway experience, exploring everything from brainwaves and holographic universes to cosmic donuts and energy healing.
Right.
Before we wrap things up, is there anything else in the document that we haven't touched on yet?
There is one more fascinating concept
Okay.
that McDonald explores.
Okay.
The idea of clicking out of time-space.
Okay, we've kind of touched on that.
We've danced around it.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into it a lot deeper.
Okay.
He suggests that by achieving certain brainwave frequencies, we can potentially perceive and even interact with dimensions beyond our physical reality.
Okay.
It's a pretty mind-blowing idea, and we'll dive into that when we get back.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back and ready to really explore this whole idea of clicking out of time-space. It's honestly the part I've been both excited and a little terrified to get to.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most mind-bending aspect of the document.
Okay.
Even compared to cosmic donuts.
Right.
So in essence,
okay,
McDonald suggests that by reaching specific brainwave states, primarily through deep meditation, we might be able to perceive and even interact with different dimensions beyond our physical reality.
Okay, so I'm trying to picture this. Is it like those out-of-body experiences you hear about where people feel like they're floating above their bodies?
There might be some overlap, but McDonald takes it a step further.
Okay.
Remember how we discussed the absolute earlier?
Yeah, the source of all creation.
Yeah.
The ultimate cosmic connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That state of pure consciousness and energy that exists outside of time and space as we know it.
Right.
McDonald suggests that by clicking out, our consciousness can merge with the absolute.
Okay.
Allowing us to access information and experiences from beyond our normal limitations.
So less about physically traveling through time and more about our consciousness expanding to perceive things from a completely different vantage point.
Right. Think of it this way.
Okay.
Our brains are like a film projector.
Okay.
And our physical reality is the image projected onto the screen.
Okay.
But the film itself contains all the frames.
Okay.
Past, present, and future.
I'm starting to see where you're going with this. By clicking out, we're not traveling through time. We're accessing the entire film, the whole cosmic story.
Precisely.
Whoa.
It's about expanding our awareness to encompass a wider range of possibilities and experiences that our everyday perception allows.
I like it. Okay. But is there any evidence to actually support this idea of clicking out?
McDonald acknowledges that it's still largely unproven by mainstream science.
Of course.
However, he does cite anecdotal accounts from people who claim to have experienced these altered states and accessed information that they couldn't have obtained through normal means.
So it's more of a subjective experience, something you can't really measure in a lab.
Right, which is probably why it remains so controversial.
Right.
The document emphasizes the importance of personal exploration and discovery when it comes to these techniques.
Okay.
It's like he's saying, try it for yourself and see what you find.
Makes sense. I think with consciousness especially, there are things we simply haven't developed the tools to measure yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even if you're skeptical about clicking out of time-space, the gateway experience still offers some valuable techniques for personal growth and self-discovery.
Totally.
Yeah, we talked about color breathing, remote viewing patterning.
Yeah.
These techniques could be beneficial even if you're not trying to access other dimensions.
They could.
Yeah.
They offer potential benefits for enhancing focus, creativity, and problem-solving skills.
Right.
They can also help you connect with your intuition and gain a deeper understanding of your own mind.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so let's bring this deep dive to a close. What are the biggest takeaways from exploring this gateway experience document?
Well, first and foremost, it challenges us to reconsider our understanding of reality.
Okay.
It suggests that consciousness might not be limited to our physical brains, but exists as part of a much larger, interconnected web of energy and information.
It's like that quote, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Exactly.
Right.
The gateway experience encourages us to explore that spiritual dimension within ourselves and to recognize the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah. It also highlights the potential of the human mind to access information and experiences beyond our normal perception, even if we haven't fully figured out how to do it yet.
Right. It's an invitation to stay curious, to push the boundaries of what we think is possible,
Yeah.
while remaining grounded in a sense of responsibility and ethics.
Okay, so after all this, what's the one question we should leave our listeners pondering?
If you could click out of time and space, where would you go?
Whoa.
What information would you seek? And what would you do with that knowledge?
Wow, that is a powerful question. It definitely leaves us with a lot to think about. Thanks for guiding us through this incredibly fascinating and at times bewildering document.
It's been my pleasure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.